Hello YouTube, this is Neon. Today's talk is going to be titled Monks Behaving Badly. And for all y'all Buddhist people out there, I'm not picking on Buddhists. I am not picking on Buddhists, but y'all finna see as I progress through this talk. So, monks behaving badly. I learned that sometimes pastors, priests, rabbis, and even monks behave badly. I had seen this interesting documentary about monks and almost fell backwards into my bathtub. About monks behaving badly and the people that hold them accountable. It was interesting because to me, monks were the only clergy, and if you're Buddhist and I'm using the wrong term, I apologize, but I just mean like religious leaders. To me, monks were the only clergy that were flawless. I thought, okay, if I saw a monk, right, or Hare Krishna or something, I didn't understand them, so I didn't have a positive opinion when I saw them. But I haven't seen that many in person. But that's just the whole American thing and the whole people tendency to look at things that are different in a way that's not positive and accepting and loving and embracing. Okay, but when I saw them on TV or reports on them or whatever, I guess from a distance I thought they were like angels and flawless and perfect, and so to see this documentary was shocking. To see that there's this small percentage of monks, I think it's a very small percentage, but I don't know what the percentage is, of monks who have, I'm trying to think, what is racketeering versus, I guess racketeering, right? Getting money by illegal means, child molestation, right? Sleeping with men's wives, sleeping with underage girls, as well as molesting boys, prostituting boys. I think the word's embezzling, I'm not sure, but taking money that's meant for the religion and the sacred places that monks are in charge of, and then using that to buy like Prada and Gucci sunglasses and stuff like that. There's a small percentage of monks that have been caught doing all of these things. They even showed how monks from like different, perhaps sects or orders, that they will get into fist fights. They were showing monks fighting each other. And it just kind of really broke my image of the perfection of monks. And it let me know that there's everybody's human. We're all human. You know, perhaps with the exception of Elijah and Jesus, right, who was God in man. We're all human. Religious leaders are all human, and we all mess up. And sometimes a religious leader can use their position in a terrible way. To see a monk riding in a private jet, wearing like Gucci sunglasses, or I don't know if it was Prada, and having like a Gucci handbag with his stuff in it, but he was dressed as a monk otherwise, was shocking. To see monks fist fighting was shocking. It kind of ruined my image of perfection of monks. So now, even though I haven't been to synagogue forever, my religion is Messianic Judaism. To all y'all Orthodox Jews, that would be fake Judaism. That's what it would be. I ain't even kosher. I think I considered being kosher for about that long. I was like, I like soul food. I like pork and pig skins. I can't be kosher. That's where the Lord led me. So, but I haven't been to synagogue in years. So, to you Jewish Orthodox people and to you Christians, it was a fake synagogue. And I know y'all think I'm a wannabe Jew. And I know y'all think that my rabbi is a fake rabbi. Or was my past rabbi. I went faithfully to synagogue for a year. Alright. So, my fake rabbi, his last name was Cohen. And that means something. But as an unintelligent Gentile, I'm not sure what it means. He has said that, unlike priests, right, Catholic priests, he said that rabbis, they don't molest children. He said the problem with rabbis is adultery. There are rabbis out there that like to sleep with other men's wives. That's what he said. And I was like, oh, that's bad, but hey, they don't molest children. Then I read this book that was written by a Jewish and a Gentile woman, and they talked about the ubiquitousness of child molestation. And they talked about how oppressed communities such as Jewish communities and Native American communities, Latino and African American communities, various indigenous, which I hate that term, but the original peoples communities. All of these communities, child molestation happens. Sexual abuse against children happens. But the oppression of the majority community against them causes people to not say anything about it. They're like, my community gets enough racism and abuse already. So unfortunately, those of us like myself who were sexually abused, but we live in oppressed communities, we tend not to speak about it because we're afraid that we're going to make our communities look bad, and perhaps bring more oppression. But in this book, which I believe was called Beginning to Heal, or it might have been called Learning to Heal, which a huge book that related with healing from sexual abuse. As I said, one of the authors was Jewish, and she talks about the fact that child molestation happens in the Jewish community, and that there are rabbis, and I'm going to say a small percentage. I believe it's probably a small percentage of Catholic priests. I don't know. But she said that there are rabbis who molest children, but that Jewish children or Jewish adults who are survivors of incest or who were victimized sexually are much less likely to speak out, and sometimes they may not even get therapy or counseling. They may just live with that because obviously a lot of us Gentiles are not good to Jewish people, so they try to protect the community and really become martyrs, just like Latinos do, Native Americans do, and African Americans do, who suffer this abuse. This abuse happens amongst all religions and amongst all religious orders, and you have this tiny percentage. This is not like a scientific studied thing that I'm saying, but I'm assuming, because I'm not trying to sit here and dog no one's religion. I'm not. But I know that it happens all over the place, and like I said, even though sometimes I may not have looked at monks the rare times that I've seen them in necessarily a positive light, it was more like, ooh, they're really different, but not in a positive way. I never looked at them as bad people. I really looked at them as holy and sacred, and I was intimidated as well, almost like they're better than me. And to see that all human beings are the same, we're all flawed, and unfortunately some of us will use our faith as a means of really being very, very abusive and getting away with a lot of crap. In, I believe, Malaysia is a country that I believe is very, very Buddhist, and the monks are like, they're as holy, if you will, as a priest would be in the Catholic Church, or a rabbi, a real rabbi amongst the real Jewish, Orthodox Jewish people. They're the real thing. They not fake like me. I'm a Gentile. Or as holy as a pastor in a church. So they will use this sometimes to really commit terrible, terrible things and to get away with terrible acts, and nobody's immune to it. It's really quite interesting to see the humanity of all of these religious leaders. And if there's a religion that I ain't said that there's false and leaders that ain't right, I'm sure that it applies to that religion as well. Oh, Islam. Islam. I'm sure there's religious leaders there that do. Obviously, there's fanatics, but I'm sure there's that abuse goes on within the Muslim religion as well, and that because there are an oppressed people, that their people are less likely to talk about it openly. So I'm sure it happens with all religious leaders in all religions, that there's people who are going to abuse their position. There really is a holy and sacred position. Hindus, I'm sure it happens there as well. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share, comment commercials, recommend my videos, do one or more of those things. Thank you. Best wishes.